The eerie silence, what happens to missing hikers. Yeah, yeah. All right, you guys. So you got a little kid playing hide and seek with his brother, literally feet away from his family. And he just vanishes. Gone. Then you got a park ranger, a guy who knows the woods like the back of his hand, who disappears on a normal patrol, leaving nothing behind. This isn't some movie plot. This is real, creepy stuff that happens in our national parks. Every year, millions of people go out to these parks to hike and camp and get away from it all. But for some of them, the wilderness just swallows them whole. There are thousands of stories of people who have gone missing in these parks over the years. Most of them are found pretty quick. But this is about the ones who aren't. This is about the cases that make no sense, where the clues just make things even weirder. Today, we're going to dive into that eerie silence. Check out the most haunting cases, the bizarre patterns, and the theories that try to explain what is going on. And hey, if you guys want to help save the planet, all you have to do is click the subscribe button. It's so good for the environment. I'm serious. Go ahead, you got 3 seconds. Click it. 3, 2, 1. Did you do it? Right, we're good. Let's go. Section 1. The boy who played hide and seek. The case of Dennis Martin. Alright, so, June 14th, 1969. You got the Martin family camping out in the Great Smoky Mountains. It's Father's Day weekend. You got the dad, the grandpa, and the 2 little kids, 9-year-old Douglas and 6-year-old Dennis. So later that day, the kids decide they're going to play hide and seek and jump out and scare the parents. You know, fun kid stuff. The dad, Bill, sees them split up. Douglas goes one way, and little Dennis, wearing a bright red shirt, ducks behind a bush. The dad can literally see the red shirt through the leaves. It's the last time anyone ever saw him. A few minutes go by. The other kids jump out. They're all laughing. But no Dennis. At first, nobody's freaking out. The dad calls his name. Silence. He calls again, louder this time. The 5 minutes since he last saw him suddenly feels like forever. Concern turns to straight-up panic. The dad immediately starts searching. He's running down the trail, screaming his kid's name until his voice is gone, thinking there's no way this little 6-year-old could have gone that far. Hours go by, nothing. So they call the National Park Service. What happened next was the biggest search in the history of that park. Over 1,400 people. I'm talking park rangers, Boy Scouts, even Green Berets from the Army, combing 56 square miles of this super rough terrain. But get this. Almost immediately after Dennis vanished, the weather goes crazy. A massive storm just dumps 3 inches of rain, washing away any tracks, making streams impossible to cross, and dropping the temperature. It's like the woods itself was trying to cover up what happened. That's nasty. Even with all those people, they found almost nothing. They brought in search dogs, right? Our best tool. But the dogs were useless. They couldn't get a scent, like Dennis was just lifted up into the air. This happens all the time in these cases. It's so weird. Only 2 clues ever showed up, and they just make it creepier. One guy finds a tiny footprint from a kid's shoe about 3 miles away, in an area they supposedly already searched. But because the search was so chaotic, they didn't even check it out properly at the time. The second clue? Oh, heck no. Weeks later, a family comes forward. They were hiking 7 miles away on the same day, and they heard a sickening scream. A few minutes after that, they saw a rough, unkempt man moving fast through the trees. They told the FBI, and the FBI was basically like, nah, too far away, not important. Boo-boo Yui, you better get that out of here. They didn't even tell the Martin family about it. So what happened to Dennis Martin? Did he just wander off and the biggest search in park history couldn't find him? Or did that scream and that weird dude point to something else? The little boy in the red shirt walked behind a bush and just stepped out of reality. Section 2. The Vanished Ranger. The case of Paul Fugate. A kid disappearing is a nightmare. But what happens when it's a park ranger? The guy who's supposed to be the expert, the guardian of the park. What happens when he's the one who goes missing? So this is the story of Paul Fugate. It's January 13th, 1980, and he's a 41-year-old ranger at Chiricahua National Monument in Arizona. This place is this crazy sky island of weird rock spires sticking out of the desert. He's the only ranger working that day. Around 2 p.m., he tells another employee he's going for a quick hike to check a trail. Says if he's not back by 4:30, just lock up the visitor center without him. Then he walks out, in his full uniform, and heads down a trail. He was never seen again. When he doesn't come back, nobody really panics until the next day. They start a search, but right away, it's baffling. Paul Fugate, an expert ranger, vanished on a short, easy patrol. He left his radio and his keys at the station. It was like he just evaporated. They searched the whole 18-square-mile park. Cops, border patrol, volunteers. They checked trails, caves, old mines. Nothing. No footprints. No struggle. It was like he just ceased to exist. So, investigators start thinking it wasn't an accident. This dude knew the park. He wasn't going to just get lost. The theory became that he didn't get lost in the park. He was taken from the park. They looked into his life. He was kind of this hippie dude who didn't always get along with the strict Park Service rules. So, some people thought, maybe he just walked away from his life. But his wife, Dodie, was like, heck no. Plus, his bank accounts were untouched. Then a darker theory started. The park is right on the border with Mexico, a big route for drug smugglers back then. The main theory became that Ranger Fugate just stumbled onto a drug deal he wasn't supposed to see. And, you done, it's over. They silenced a federal witness. This would explain why there was no evidence. His body could be anywhere. For years, nothing. The government was so messed up they wouldn't even declare him dead, so his wife couldn't get benefits. They even sent her a bill for his salary while he was missing. Geez, man. Then, in 2018, almost 40 years later, the Park Service announces they have new information and triples the reward to $60,000. But they never said what the information was. What are you kidding me? To this day, Paul Fugate's case has never been solved. He walked out for a hike and became a ghost. Look, these stories are more than just mysteries, man. They're tragedies for these families who've been looking for answers forever. The search teams do their best, but sometimes the woods are just too big. If you're finding this stuff as wild as I am, go ahead and press that like button and subscribe. It helps us keep digging into these cases people have forgotten. All right, now let's talk about another ranger, the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the mountains, whose disappearance ended with a discovery that just made things even weirder. Section 3, the last season, the case of Randy Morganson. All right, so if Paul Fugate was the rebel, Randy Morganson was the G.O.A.T. This dude was a legend. 28 seasons as a ranger in Sequoia and Kings Canyon. He was the most experienced ranger they had. They said he could find a lost hiker just by looking at a map. If anyone was safe in the woods, it was this guy. And yet, in 1996, he vanished too. Now, summer of '96 was rough for Randy. His marriage was falling apart, and people said he was super depressed. On July 21st, he leaves his patrol cabin for a routine patrol. He leaves a note on his tent, says he'll be gone for a few days. Then he makes this really weird radio call, telling other rangers he wouldn't be bothering them anymore. That's a bad sign. Then he walks away. And just like with little Dennis Martin, thunderstorms roll in right after and wash away his tracks. You seeing the pattern here? When he doesn't check in, everyone freaks out. The best ranger is missing. The search was insane. Everyone wanted to find one of their own. They searched for days, helicopters, dogs, everything. They found nothing. Not a footprint, not a wrapper, nothing from his uniform. It was a perfect disappearance. How could the guy who finds everyone else get so completely lost? Theories started flying. Did he commit suicide? But he left his gun in his tent. Did he just walk off to start a new life in the mountains he loved? Or did he run into trouble, like Paul Fugate? The simplest theory was just a tragic accident. He fell, broke his leg, and his radio got busted. For 5 years, silence. Randy Morganson was just gone. Then, July 2001. A trail crew worker is in this super remote area, goes off the path, and at the bottom of a waterfall, he finds human bones. They call on the rangers. They find a tattered shirt with Morganson's badge still on it, and his backpack, waist belt still buckled. Dental records confirmed it was him. So case closed, right? He fell. No. The prevailing theory is he was crossing a snow bridge over the creek, fell through, broke his leg, and got washed downstream. Plausible accident. But there are some weird details. His park radio? It was found sitting on top of the waterfall, not down at the bottom with his body. A ranger who was on the original search team remembers crossing that exact spot. He swears the radio wasn't there in 1996. So, how'd it get there? Did it crawl? Furthermore, the ravine where he was found had been searched. but they somehow missed that specific spot by just a few hundred yards. You crazy. The guy who wrote a book on it, Eric Blem, thinks it wasn't an accident. He suggests Randy was so depressed and wanted to make sure his wife got his death benefits, which they don't pay for suicides, so he staged an accident. He used his God-tier wilderness skills to plan his own end to look like a tragic mistake. Geez, man, that's dark. Section 4. The unsettling patterns. So when you look at these cases one by one, they're creepy. But when you look at them all together, with hundreds of others, oh, heck no. You start to see these unsettling patterns that just don't make any sense. One of the big ones is the weather suddenly turning bad. We saw it with Dennis Martin, where the storm just erased all the evidence. It happens over and over. A freak blizzard, a flash flood, thick fog rolls in out of nowhere. It's like the environment is an accomplice. Then there's the failure of the search dogs. I'm telling you, these dogs can smell a single potato chip from a mile away. But in case after case, they get to the spot where the person was last seen, and they just act confused. The trail just stops, like the person was beamed up or something. It's weird. Another super weird thing is where people are found, if they're found. They turn up in places that have been searched over and over by pros. Randy Morganson was in the search area. Little kids have been found alive miles away, up insane mountains that a grown man would have trouble climbing. How? Clothing is another weird one. People's shoes or jackets are found neatly placed, sometimes miles from where they were last seen, and miles from where their body is found. Now, you can lose your mind from hypothermia and start taking your clothes off, but it doesn't explain why the stuff is folded or placed so neatly. Finally, there are the clusters. Researchers have found spots where people just disappear way more often. Yosemite, Great Smoky Mountains. It's like these places are hotspots. And certain activities, too. People picking berries seem to vanish at a crazy high rate. When you add it all up, the weather, the dogs failing, being found in searched areas, the weird clothing clues, it's hard to just say, oh, it was an accident for every single one. The number of cases with these same strange factors pushes the boundaries of coincidence. Section 5. Theories. From the rational to the unthinkable. So, what is happening to these people? When you're faced with mysteries this creepy, you gotta have some theories. They go from totally logical to, boy, the most common, most boring explanation is natural accidents. Parks are wild. People fall off cliffs, get buried in avalanches, drown in rivers, get dehydrated. A broken leg can be a death sentence out there. It's totally possible a lot of these people just had a fatal accident and the wilderness is just really, really good at hiding things. Animal attacks? Possible, but super rare. And when a bear or a mountain lion gets you, it usually leaves a big mess. A lot of these weird cases are just too clean. Then you have foul play, the human element. Like maybe with Paul Fugate. The wilderness is the perfect place to commit a crime and hide the evidence. It's a scary thought that the biggest danger out there isn't a bear, but another person. Some theories get a little stranger. Like, maybe there are feral people or secret off-grid communities living deep in these parks who don't like outsiders. Maybe they're responsible for some disappearances. People have told stories about wild men in the woods for centuries, but there's no real proof. And finally, we get to the edge of the map. The stuff that makes you go, the high strangeness theories. We're talking Bigfoot, interdimensional portals, alien abductions. I know. But when you have a 2-year-old found 12 miles up a mountain, and the search dogs can't find a single trace of how they got there, stuff that just breaks the laws of physics. Logic kinda goes out the window, man. For some people, these are the only theories that fit how completely bizarre the facts are. The truth is probably a mix of all of it. Some are accidents, some are crimes, and some are just gonna stay a mystery forever. Geez, man. The silence in these parks holds so many stories. The laugh of a little boy, the footsteps of a ranger, and the last moments of all these people who walked into the wild and just never walked out. It's a reminder that no matter how much tech we have, we're just visitors in a world that is way more powerful and mysterious than we think. For the families, that silence is the loudest thing in the world. It's this empty space where answers should be. We're looking at these cases to remember them. To remember Dennis Martin, Paul Fugate, and Randy Morganson, and all the others who are still lost. So what do you guys think happened? Are the simple explanations enough for you? Or do all these weird patterns point to something else? Let me know. Drop your theories in the comments below. Be respectful, though. These are real people and real families. And the next time you're at a park, looking out at the woods, just be safe. Be prepared. But also, listen. Listen to that silence. But if you enjoyed this video, then go ahead and smack that like button. And yeah, I'ma see you in the next one. Peace.